action. So hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary, and in today's video I wanted to talk to you about poetry. And not just any poetry, but I want to talk to you specifically if you're somebody who writes poetry or who's fascinated by poetry, but mainly if you write poetry. So I've been writing poetry for 4 or 5 years maybe, and something that I really don't regret doing is keeping all of my poems. Like, there's so many, and there's unfinished ones, there's stupid ones, there's bad ones, there are some good ones, but regardless, I stored them somewhere. I'm gonna look at them with you today, and we're going to see whether that was a good idea or a bad idea, but we both know it's a good idea because this way you can just look at your progress, see what progress you've made, and improve. Also, it's fun to see what you wanted to write about, what you actually did write about and had to say back when you were like younger or whatever, or and so that's also just something really nice. Oh, another thing that I don't regret, let's move on to the screen. So usually I say last edited at the end of my poems. I put last edited, and then I put the date when I last edited it, or I know that I last edited it or whatever, and so that way I can like see when this poem was written, right? And so I don't know, it's just a fun thing that I did, and I really like that. Some poems, it's really specific, like I even put like the time, but let me just find one where I put like the time. Here, for example, last edited at 6:04 in the morning, 16th May 2023. Or here, for example, last edited the Wednesday, 19th July, 4:14 a.m. But I forgot to put the year. That's not good. No, I forgot to put the year to these. Ugh. Probably 2023 or 2024. But yeah, regardless, that's also a very fun and interesting thing I would do if I were to start writing poetry, right? Like, if I'd have to do all this again, I'd probably still do these things. One thing that I would do, however, differently is maybe store all of my poems in one place, because now they're scattered all over. Like, I have a manuscript here because I wanted to publish my poems, but I ended up not doing that because God help a girl who feels like an imposter and who feels like her writing is really bad, which kind of is sometimes. But yeah, I didn't. But regardless, the idea was that I have a lot of poems, like some are here amongst the manuscript, some are in my Notion, and others are even in my notes app still, because I haven't moved them. Anyways, yeah, they're here, and I'm happy I have them. There are pieces of me scattered and pieces of how I thought scattered. This is basically like keeping a journal, basically. But yeah, anyways, why don't we just go ahead and read one? And actually, I had my eyes fixed on this one. I breathe you in my dreams. I was really upset. I remember this. This was like last year, July. Was that 5 in the morning? I don't know. But anyways, it was there was a thing. We had a sleepover. I went to a sleepover and I met a guy there, and we were just young stupid teenagers. Not that anything happened or anything, but yeah, no, it was just some innocent kisses, and they meant a lot to me back then. And I wrote a poem because I was so heartbroken that he never wanted to see me again. That was so bad, but thank God that happened that way, because right now I've been blessed with so much more. So yeah, anyways, here it goes. I breathe you in my dreams. A night so magical, teenagers being drunk, falling for the rhythm of the music and that of the junk. I offered you my soul. It wasn't shiny or bright. I trusted you with my back. You ended up hating the sight. I felt I could do anything. You brought back that you're alive. I hoped you could change me until our soberness arrived. You walked away. How easy it was for you not to stay. I broke silently in my room until I was shaking from the pain. I know that night was one-time thing. I knew it when I told you you'd break my heart. For once in my life, I had hoped I was wrong, because you were different. My world got shook when I banged the bong, awakened from the trance, enveloped in useless tears. I realized I wasn't the one that had lost. I wasn't the one with useless peers. I was the woman who was prepared to give you everything, the one you turned away. And now what can I do? I just turned 17 in May. I am too young. I am too old. I feel the sorrow hitting my bone. Don't you understand you broke something in me? Don't you understand that I now lay awake at 3 a.m. thinking about thee? And I breathe you in my dreams. I drown myself in miserable themes. Sorrow, love, regret, and vengeance. It's all a mix with no in between. I bury my memories with the alcohol, and I keep breathing you in my dreams. I smoke to slow down my breathing, but there's no use. I breathe you and only you in my dreams. This false religion, the lost hope. What do I do with them again? I but only grope. I still breathe you in my dreams. I'm sick of all the tears, because how silly to feel like I've known you for years when only a few hours had passed, longing for your validation, for seeing my feelings, assassination. I breathe you in my dreams. 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 Very dramatic, as you can see, and it's really... But yeah, usually, and that's something real. I feel like it's kind of bad, but usually I only wrote poems, because I don't do it as often anymore, when I was really, really broken, and when I was really suffering, and I needed a way to cope with my suffering and with my pain. And when it came to love, I was really sensitive. I still really am sensitive when I fall in love, or think I fall in love, because you know how it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's really something that I fall very deeply, very fast, and I love very obsessively and very toxically, I suppose you can call it. And results of this have always been my poems, because you can't just show all your lovers your obsession. Like one day that one person who's meant for you will come along, and you can show them and tell them and just be anything with them, and they'd understand and they'd still love you. But until then, you're gonna suffer like I did. I hope you don't. I really do. But yeah. So anyways, that was one poem from the notes I hadn't put in the manuscript or something. Let's see if there's something else here. Here's another one. It's called Trapped. And so sometimes I'd explore with different styles of poems, and this was the type of poem where I wanted the repetition to kind of push the poem forward, right? I don't know why I felt like trying this out as well, because I read poems, I don't remember which poems it was, but I read a really nice poem which had this one sentence that kept repeating itself after every paragraph, and it really fit into that poem, and I thought, why don't I give it a go? But it didn't really turn out that well, because it was one phrase, the repetition sentence, one phrase, repetition, one, and so it wasn't that good, but I'll just read it for you. Trapped. Emptiness and shadows, I don't want to be trapped. Feelings of sorrow, the audience that clapped. Tears escaping, I don't want to feel trapped. The Earth's orbit isn't big enough to wonder, I don't want to be trapped. How dare you, I don't want to be trapped. A game of money, I don't want to be trapped. Midnight thundering, I don't want to be trapped. Always studying, I don't want to be trapped. Hate, 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 I don't want to be trapped. Run away, I don't want to be trapped. Die. I think I escaped the trap. I'm sorry, wow! Jesus. No, but that was actually what I had in mind, and the way that I interpreted right now, that's actually the way I thought of it. Yeah, it kept how do you call this? It kept getting faster, and so yeah, I think that was definitely the intention. And then the die, I think I escaped the trap. Turning point. Plot twist. No, this one's not that bad. You can say whatever you want about it, but I think it's good. I think the build-up is really good, and I think the last thing that I say, die, I think I escaped the trap. I think that's really impactful. And I just read it and I got shivers. I was like, whoa, okay, whew, girl, depressing, but I think it's interesting personally. Of course I wrote it, so yeah, of course it's interesting, but you know what I mean. But yeah, anyways, okay, that's everything I have here on this notes thing. Just close that. Then I do have one poem that I was really proud of in particular that I'm gonna read to you. I don't know how proud I am still of this poem, but it was back then I was really proud to have written this poem. Oh, what do you mean it wasn't ever? Yes, here we go. It's called Dissociative Identity Disorder, and if you don't know what that means, I'm gonna pop here a quick definition just so you get acquainted with it, because otherwise this video is getting too long. Anyways, so here we go. Dissociative Identity Disorder, DID. It's the voices in my head, my insanity, they shred. My stomach, they upset, the reason I use them, like cigarettes. Each with their role, each have their place. All in my memories, stored in the database. The protector, the child, the rebel, the caregiver. The intellect, the perfectionist, the social butterfly, the forgiver. In dissociative identity disorder, DID, each alter can have distinct characteristics, roles, and identities. A game the mind plays on your thoughts, the ultimate deception they call a plot. In shadows deep where the battle you fought, the place where secrets like this clot. Friends mistake them for my teenage mood swings. They say they are temporary, just like my flings. Absurd questions they ask about all of my sins. They ask, are you married? But I see no ring. I wonder, do they ever sit down with their flaws? Or do they pretend to or do they prefer to just ignore all of the universe's laws? It's one of the two, there's just no in between. Just like the identity you chose to show them. Remember, you have DID. The voices keep swirling inside of your mind. You take them everywhere you go. You can't leave them behind. You go to sleep with them at night. When you lay there in the silence, they sometimes ask you if you're all right. Words are hard when it comes to describing these identities. But what I can say with certainty is that sometimes they feel like my enemies. The enemies deep inside me reside. It's hard to let them go because of my pride. The DID has chosen its home. Alone in the darkness, I let it roam. You know, I was thinking during the reading that I could probably edit a few things about this poem. It's okay, but sometimes something I've noticed about myself, I don't know if anybody else who writes poems does this, but when I write poems and I sometimes don't find rhyme, because I really like when my poems rhyme and most of them have rhyme, is that if I don't find rhyme, I always talk about whatever so that it rhymes. So for example, why was it relevant that sure, they ask absurd questions about all of my sins, but why they ask, are you married? But I see no rings. It just, the rings and the sins no, the rings with the flings, that rhymed and I wanted it there. But other than that, I don't see why that should be in there because it has nothing to do with that. The next part, or do they prefer to just that's okay. I really liked the there's just no in between, just like the identity you chose to show them. Remember, you have DID. That was a really nice rhyme. I was very proud. I still am very proud of that rhyme. It's good. You can say whatever you want. It's good. Maybe the last part is a bit and I feel like it has an abrupt ending, but I had no more inspiration. I thought I have to end this or otherwise I'm gonna leave it like that and never end it. No, it's a nice poem-ish. I like it. There are lots of poems that I could read out to you, but not all of them are good. I remember one poem that also is pretty good, but I don't know. Let's see if it was good, shall we? Woman, stand up on your feet, don't cry. Woman made of amber, woman made of gold. What happened to your sturdiness? What happened to being bold? They put out your fire, but still expect you to stand. They drain your energy with all they demand. You grew up too fast, and now you feel old. So much sadness in you, sometimes it can't be controlled. You cry for help, but still he won't show. 16 years of marriage, and now the tide overflows. Woman, stand up on your feet, don't cry. Believe in your strength and reach for the sky. Lying paralyzed in bed won't help you get by. Do you understand the things that I imply? You have power, gifts, and a heart very strong. You're intelligent, delicate. Don't forget this. Don't forget. Why do I keep You have power, gifts, and a heart very strong. You're intelligent, delicate. Don't forget to sing your song. People admire you, your children as well. You're the best there is, I can surely tell. Remember the nights when you sang them to sleep, your lullaby soft, your love running deep. Those shadows may darken the path that you tread. Your spirit remains, your soul's never dead. Each tear that you shed is a drop of your strength, and every headache your courage extends. For you are a phoenix rising anew. From ashes and pain you emerge and break through. Woman, stand up on your feet, don't cry. The world needs your light, your unyielding might. In the mirror, see the warrior inside. With a heart full of love, let your spirit abide. Hold on to hope. Let your dreams never die, for you are a beacon, a star in the sky. And as dawn breaks with the new day's embrace, you'll find in yourself the most sacred place. So woman, stand tall, let your heartbeats resound. In the symphony of life, your strength will be found. With each step forward, let your story be told. Woman made of amber, woman made of gold. I mean, you know. Inspiration for this poem was a woman that was just struggling, and she just, not me, of course, no, because I'm talking of a woman who's like married and old and stuff like that, but you know, I just saw her and I was like, I want to write your story. I just saw this woman in my head. I'm like, let me write you a poem, because I feel your pain, you know, and let me just write you an encouraging poem-ish type of thing. So that's what I did, and that's what that was. And it has some flaws, but I'm sure that if a woman, like a mother maybe, would hear this poem, I think they'd be like encouraged maybe to just stand up on their feet and don't cry. I don't, I'm just saying. Anyways, maybe a last poem that I want to show you is from the manuscript, because these are really old poems, right? If they're in the manuscript, they're really old. Okay, maybe this is not the last one, but I did like this one. It was my favorite at the time because it has such a good rhyme to it. So let me just read it for you really quickly. Another message, another note, another disturbance, another hope. Pieces of broken hearts shattered on the floor. People walking through a door. No rhyme, no play. No more reasons to stay. Wishing I didn't say the things I told you the other day. Eventually, I guess I am gray. Lost with no other way. Fucked with nothing to say. Alone every day. Sad, I know. But it rhymed. It was not my best, but it rhymed, okay? Okay, the last one that I want to share with you was also a very nice poem. I mean, a nice poem in my eyes, of course, but this was also about another guy that I fell in love with, or so I thought, and yeah, he pretty much ended up being gay. Regardless, the thing is, I kind of confessed my feelings for him, but kind of not, but he kind of made it clear that just no. And I was so heartbroken. I was in a train when I wrote this poem. I was going home, it was late at night. Yeah, see, it was like 10:24, and this is what came out of me at that time. So much happened, yet so little. So much happened, yet so little. A universe bloomed, then crumbled to brittle. Your touch a ghost, your voice a blade. The whispers of you in my mind never fade. Don't you see the chaos you leave behind? How you carved your name into the walls of my mind. Every glance a tempest I can control. Every word a wound I can't explain. We can't be friends. This fire burns too bright, it never ends. You ignite a storm that I can't control. Shattered my body, then stole my soul. How did so much happen yet so little? Love so sharp it turns the heart to a riddle. You, my hunger, my curse, my dream, tearing me apart at every seam. I wanted to hate you, but lust won't subside. I want to forget you, but you're etched inside. My regret, my ruin, my bittersweet sin. How did you start this war? I'll never win. So much happened, yet so little, and I am left broken, brittle. It's okay. Not. It was okay. Wow, it's been over a year. Damn. This was basically me kind of showing off my poems, like the good poems in my opinion, and just talking about how they could be improved or where they're fine. Oh. Okay, this video was not kind of supposed to do that, but you know, here we are. However, one thing I will I'm gonna give you, and hopefully you'll find that the video was worth your time, is this. If you feel like writing a poem, write it, okay? It doesn't matter if you're not experienced, it doesn't matter if you don't know jack shit about poetry, it doesn't matter if you've never read poetry, just do it, okay? Poems are meant to be written, I think, and they're very beautiful, and just do it. Even though they're not perfect, that's what a poem is. It's supposed to not be perfect. A poem is a poem, and it expresses a feeling, a sentiment, and it makes you feel better after you've written it. Mostly, sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. Just take this as your message to write poetry and to keep them somewhere and to never throw them away, and to maybe like, you know, put beneath every poem at what time you finished writing it and which date and which year. Don't forget your year, because it sucks. Sometimes you need to see the year Okay. Okay, so anyways, this is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for listening and for taking a look at my poems with me. It was very fun. I had forgotten about my poems for a little bit, so I was really glad when I thought of looking through my poems and, I don't know, just reliving them, reliving that period of time in my life again. It just makes me realize how lucky I am and how much I've grown and how much things have changed and how sad I was back then and how happy I am right now. And I don't know, it's just really beautiful. It was a very nice feeling and I enjoyed every second of it. Yeah, I was glad to take you along with me for a few of them. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.